Starting today in the state of Florida, landlords now have more rights and more options available to them to remove illegal occupants from their homes, commonly called squatters. There have been a lot of stories in the news about people renting an Airbnb or moving into a vacant house, breaking the locks and changing the locks and staying there for an extended period of time, all at the property owner's expense. And to be honest, those sensationalist headlines have left a lot of would-be real estate investors sitting on the sidelines, not wanting to take on this huge legal liability. And it's not only hurt property values, it's also hurt the pocketbooks of a lot of existing landlords who've had to go through and fight through some of these problems. So let me show you what's changed here in the state of Florida. Starting today, July 1st, 2024, we have House Bill 621, which goes into effect. Now, this bill, we can look at the timeline. It actually was introduced or filed in November of 2023. It was formally passed and signed into law on March 27th. But this bill authorizes property owners or authorized agents to request from Sherrif for immediately removing unauthorized occupants from a residential dwelling under certain conditions. So just what are those conditions that a landlord can use to circumvent the lengthy and expensive eviction process? There's 3 stipulations. A property owner can request law enforcement to immediately remove a squatter from their property if the following 3 conditions are met. Number 1, the individual has unlawfully entered and remains on the property. Okay, so if this is a family member you let move in or somebody who you gave access to and they've just stayed, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people who have broken into vacant homes, who've stolen keys, who've changed locks, or otherwise unlawfully entered the property. The second stipulation, the individual has been directed to leave the property by the owner but has not done so. Best way to document this is going to be using a process server or posting notices on the door, certified mail, all the normal stuff you would do, but you want to be sure you have good bulletproof evidence that you've complied with this, directing the person to leave the property. The third thing, the individual is not a current or former tenant in a legal dispute. So a squatter is not somebody who leased your property for 3 years and then they went month to month and you think they should be paying more. It's none of that stuff. This is truly someone who has broken into the home, snuck into the home, stolen access, and set up camp to the property. So this goes on to say, this is from the governor's office, it will be quick and simple to reclaim your home from squatters, avoiding costly delays, litigation, and missed rents, which is potentially the most expensive part of this. It also goes further, it says it creates harsh penalties for those engaged in squatting. What are the harsh penalties? First degree misdemeanor for making a false statement in writing to obtain real property. So now there's actually some penalty for creating these scams to mislead property owners or landlords. A second degree felony for any person who unlawfully occupies or trespasses in a residential dwelling and who intentionally causes 1,000 or more in damages. And it doesn't specify that these are actually damages to the property, like breaking doors or light fixtures or appliances, but this could just be damages in terms of lost rent or time, energy, and effort expelled to remove them. And then makes it a first-degree felony for knowingly advertising the sale or rent of a residential property without legal authority or ownership. As a residential property manager who advertises properties for rent online for owners, I can't tell you the number of times we have a phone call from someone on Craigslist and they're excited about renting the lakefront 5-bedroom, 2,000 square foot house for $350 a week that we actually have listed for $4,500 a month on regular websites. These scams are prolific. They're everywhere. And it's nice to see that now there will actually be some real penalties for people who are trying to take advantage of landlords and take advantage of even real estate agents by posting fraudulent listings. There's a piece of marketing essentially that came out around this, and this came from the governor's office, or it was at least linked from flgov.com. And it says Florida stands with law-abiding homeowners while other states allow criminals and vagrants to take over. Florida is pushing back. It seems sensationalist, but if you look around at some of these headlines, there's actually been some terrible examples of property owners being handcuffed and taken advantage of. This one, fed up homeowner arrested after tense standoff with squatters stealing $1 million house she inherited from her parents. Absolutely terrible. Airbnb renter turned squatter leaves Los Angeles homeowner tied up in legal red tape. We've heard examples of this. People I know personally who've dealt with issues where there's eviction moratoriums. They have tenants in their property damaging it. They're getting fined by their homeowners association or condo association. They're getting liened because they have this tenant damaging their property. Meanwhile, they can't evict them. Just crazy stuff. So again, this marketing piece goes on to say, today, Governor DeSantis signed HB 621, which gives a homeowner the ability to quickly remove a squatter from a property and increases the criminal penalties for squatting. In Florida, it will be quick and simple to reclaim your home from squatters. So overall, this is a win for property owners and advocates of property ownership. If you're a tenant or a renter and you feel like this is putting you at a disadvantage, as long as you have a lease in place and you're paying your rent and you're being truthful and honest with your applications, this doesn't strip you of any rights as a tenant. It just simply strengthens the landlord and property owners' rights and bolsters their ability to defend their property from people looking to take advantage of them. So great news overall. If you've been sitting on the sidelines or you're a little bit worried about what it looks like to evict a tenant or resolve a tenant dispute or deal with squatters, then this could be the nudge you need to get off the sidelines and start taking a look at property investing a little more seriously here in the state of Florida. If you have any questions about the new law or just simply about property management, what it looks like to be a landlord, what common issues are, and how we help landlords avoid a lot of common issues, then give me a shout, send us a message, and like and subscribe for more content like this about Central Florida real estate. We'd be happy to answer any questions you have. I'm Don Harkins. Thanks for watching.